Yes. Well, go on, people. What are you saying? This is I Diligent Thinkers. Yeah, man. You know what? I've been worrying so much about what channels to be doing this type of content, that type of content, this, that, and the third on, and everything like that. And like as I see it, whether the algorithm's working for me or against me on my channel, and that like I'm nowhere near at the stage of being able to make money on my channels anyway, and that, so I'm just going to put out the content that I want to put out on the channels that I feel like it should be appropriate on. Do you know what I mean? And that, so yeah, man, expect a few videos to be coming onto this channel where I'm just giving some advice, some insights. Do you know what I mean? Some advice if it's worth it as an independent artist from Manchester, you know, trying to build up things for myself. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully be able to create opportunities and build up things for other artists in Manchester. And that at the moment I'm just walking around my local park, getting my steps in, trying to focus a bit more on my health and that, being in my 40s and shit. Do you know what I mean? But just keep thinking to myself, like, I've been involved in the Manchester music scene and the music industry in general for over 22 years now, you know, and hopefully there's going to be insights that I have, things that I have learned over the years and along the way that should hopefully be able to help other people and shit. Apologies if it's a bit too windy and that, it did look like it was going to be too windy today and stuff, so I've not got my wind guard, my dead cat as they call it, on my microphone. Hold tight, Holy Land coming through with the wireless mics and shit. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, today I thought I would talk about, you know, just putting yourself out there. Do you know what I'm saying? And that, just taking that step. If you're a new artist that's getting into things, do you know what I mean? Whether you've been in it for a while but you feel a bit lost and all that kind of stuff, do you know what I mean? Just my advice is just put yourself out there, man. If you've got music there that you're unsure about, you don't know whether it's gonna hit or not or anything like that, just put it out, man. Just put it out. It doesn't need to be anything. It doesn't need to be anything that serious. It will only be as serious as you make it, really and truly. And especially if you're just starting out in things, do you know what I mean? It really doesn't need to be all that complicated. And I'll tell you why. And whether or not this is a good way of going about things or a bad way, somebody else can try and tell me, but all I can say is it's what's worked for me. Do you know what I mean? But when I first started out, because I started making music when I was 14 in high school, I started putting out music. I think I put my first project out in either 2000, 2001 is when I put my first project out, and it was called Waiting to Import. And it was an EP of tracks that I'd made completely sample based. So I take drums from a DJ Shadow track, I'd take a bass line from, you know, a Deftones track or a Lamb track. Do you know what I mean? I would take bits and bobs from other places and then put them all together and make something of my own. And it was called Waiting to Import, based on how long it takes to import tracks, import sounds into the computer or the PlayStation that I was using at the time, because I was like in between building my own computer and making music on Music Generator 2000 on the PlayStation 1 and stuff, you know. And for me doing that, one, it gave me an idea of what it's like to just put music out in general without the need of a record label or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? I burnt it to CDs, I printed out my own covers and all that kind of stuff. And I just gave it out to people. Do you know what I mean? Just gave it out to people. And that was the first time I was able to sort of gauge, do you know what I mean, audience response, do you know what I mean, to like stuff that I was making. I won't say it was the best thing that I ever did in terms of music, quality of music that I'd made, but it did give me that idea of, you know, how to put music out, how to put a project out. I didn't expect big things from it. I wasn't expecting to like take over the world with what I was doing, but at least I put it out there, and the feedback that I got back was good. It was all right. Do you know what I mean? And it gave me that motivation to keep making music and just keep putting things out. When I really started getting serious with putting music out and putting projects out was in 2009 when I set up my record label, Spynal Records. And it was all Bandcamp based. I was doing everything by myself, and that, even though I was in a collective called Obnoxious Entertainment, hold tight MAB, hold tight JCA, and that Compose, Johnny Darko, his kit, and that even Ransom Bad Bones jumped in on a couple of things, hold tight Charlie Mack. It was a collection, hold tight my boy Ed XL as well. It was a collection of people that were all passionate about making hip hop, making music, DJing, do you know what I mean, producing and stuff. And we all just came together from different parts of the UK, and we all just made music together. And rather than focusing on, again, trying to get signed to a major label of some sort or anything like that, any kind of label to be fair, and between the lot of us, we'd seen so many horror stories, so many sort of bad reports about being signed to labels and things like that, where we were just like, nah, we want to stay independent. Also, hold tight Twizzy, hold tight Jinx the JX, three-headed beast and shit. And that, you know, we just wanted to do it all ourselves. And it felt empowering doing it all ourselves as well, because we were in control of everything. You know what I'm saying? And that, forward ever, backward never. You don't know. You know, and through putting out all of our projects, like myself, the Redemption EP, my first project, I don't even think I called it anything. It was just an EP of like 4 or 5 tracks, and then I went on to start the Dill's Winter series, where it was like a mixtape being built over the course of the winter, starting from my birthday. Every 2 weeks there would be a new freshly written track made over a beat that everybody knows, or an instrumental that I'd found on YouTube or from beat packs and stuff like that, all completely free. And do you know what I mean? Over 10 weeks you'd end up with a 10-track EP or mixtape, you know what I mean? I did 3 of those Dill's Winter series. I also did instrumental beat packs called Therapy Sessions, based off being involved in like beat making communities like Digger's Love, Hold Tight Gadget for Millennium Jazz Music, The Beatin', which was a sample-based community on Facebook that was headed up by Ty, R-I-P-T-Y, Ty, and that, you know, and I would take those beats, put them out for free as well on Bandcamp, you know. I think the greatest thing that I got from just putting music out there, not taking it too serious, do you know what I mean? Not to the point where I'm just putting out anything regardless of quality and things like that, you know. I'm making sure what I'm putting out is the best of what I can put out at that time, but I'm not getting any hang-ups about, oh, it needs to have this big promo campaign and this, that and the third. Like, just put it out. I'm not worrying about whether I should charge for it or anything like that. Just put it out. Just put the music out. And I was able to build a fan base quite quickly, just from doing that, I was able to have people that care about the music that I'm making, that care about me, do you know what I mean, that care about the principles that I had, that we as a collective had as Obnoxious Entertainment, do you know what I'm saying? And even though we're not sort of working together, well, even though we're not making music together and pushing things out as Obnoxious Entertainment anymore, I still rep them. Do you know what I mean? As a crew, if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for having people around me that I can bounce ideas off and make fucking projects with, like the Program EP produced by myself with vocals from me, MAB, and EdXL, Return of the Outcast. Hopefully me and MAB are going to do Return of the Outcast Volume 2. Do you know what I'm saying? We just need to find the time to be able to do that, because we're older now and we've got responsibilities now. Do you know what I'm saying? And shit, you know. On the Come Up, which is a collection of all the music that I'd made over the years that I'd put into a nice big mixtape, do you know what I mean, for people and stuff. There's loads of stuff and that there was an EP that I'd made with PYE on the production. It was a collection of all the instrumentals that he'd put out over the years for free, and I turned them into a project. I've forgotten what it's called. I've forgotten what I called the project. But a lot of this stuff is out on like Spotify and streaming services for people to like check out as well. Therapy Sessions Volume 4, the Dusty Beat tape, and that, like a beat pack, a beat tape that I'd made based on the Rocky movie series, and that sampling loads of the music from the soundtracks from that. Again, up on streaming services for people to be able to check out, up on Bandcamp for people to be able to check out, man. And if it wasn't for doing things like that alongside releasing music on drum and bass labels, because for those that don't know, I also release drum and bass music. Do you know what I mean? So it's two different worlds that I'm a part of when it comes to being in the music industry. Do you know what I'm saying? As well as recording a lot of the music myself, recording my own vocals, mixing and learning to master the music myself. Do you know what I mean? Out of necessity. Because when you're doing things just off your own back and you're doing a lot of it for free, you've not got the money to be paying for studio time if you're not going to be getting that return on investment, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have money to pay for music videos, so I learned to make, film and edit my music videos myself and stuff. And all of that knowledge has become so valuable when it comes to being in the position to be able to pay for these things now, working with videographers and that, filmmakers, and being able to understand, you know, the language and the terminology for some of these things. It's all valuable. But the point that I'm making is we all had to start somewhere. And if you don't start, you're not going to be able to learn anything. You're not going to be able to gain anything. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're at those beginning stages, just put the stuff out there, man. There's so many free platforms that you can use. Bandcamp, SoundCloud. Do you know what I'm saying? And now they're two of the best platforms that I would recommend if you're doing stuff for free, to be able to put your music on and put it out there. And that they've both got audiences that regularly use those platforms and use those platforms to be able to find new music. SoundCloud especially, the tools that you've got to be able to search and find new people, new genres and stuff like that. Absolutely sick. Do you know what I mean? And that, you know, and if it's just you're not looking to make money or anything like that, you're just looking to just get your name out there. Do you know what I mean? Both great platforms to use. Bandcamp, you know, you can set your own prices on there, or you can put stuff out there for free and shit, you know, and be completely, you know, independent with it all and that. But they're two great places to start if you just want to put yourself out there and start building up an audience and that, you know. If you're working on projects, do you know what I'm saying? It's a great way of being able to just put clips and stuff like that out there of what you're working on and get people excited. And that, you know, you're not going to be able to pop off straight away with your first EP, your first album and that, but if you're putting it out for free, it's a tool that you can use to get people on board, because there's no barrier to entry. Do you know what I mean? People don't have to pay and then make the decision of whether they're willing to pay for someone that they've never heard before, and this, that and the third. This is where Bandcamp comes in as a great option to, you know, put it out for free, but add the option of people being able to pay more if they want, to be able to buy it if they want. Because if they come across you and you do some quality stuff and they feel like, nah, you deserve some money, you deserve to be supported, even if you are a brand new artist that's just starting out, you know, you're giving them the option to be able to do that and shit, you know. Let me go up here and that, you know, give people the option if they want to and stuff, but, you know, remove that barrier to entry of having to pay, you know what I'm saying, to get people on board and that quicker, you know, than you would do if, you know, you're trying to make money off it all and that. And I'm going to use this last part of this video to just dispel the myth that there is no money in music. There is most definitely money in music, especially if you are an independent artist. There most definitely is. You just need to take the time to learn the ins and outs, learn what your budget is, learn to be able to work within that budget, understand marketing, understand advertising, and figure out the free ways that you can do that, many ways that you can advertise yourself and market yourself for free. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't always have to be paying for big marketing campaigns and this, that and the third. You can do a lot of it for free. The fact that you've got social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, aka X, do you know what I mean, Threads, YouTube, all of these things you can set up for free and use these platforms for free. You know, it doesn't have to be shiny, sick edited videos. It could just be videos like this, where you're giving people an insight into you, your personality, giving people updates on what you are doing, where you are going, where you plan to go. Prime example, Doechii. And her song that is out now, Anxiety, and that she first put that idea out in 2018, 19, I think it was. She was just in her bedroom with a microphone and a laptop, just singing away. Do you know what I mean? 5 years later, it's a massive tune. I think at the moment the music video's got 5.2 million views and shit, you know, and that. Getting played everywhere, people doing the dance to it, based off Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith and Tatiana Ali. Do you know what I mean? In one of the first episodes in shit of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and that was all free. There was no massive marketing campaign behind it. It was just done organically from an artist that's trying to find her way. Do you know what I mean? And being vulnerable and putting it out there for people to be able to connect with and shit like that, you know. As long as you are confident in what you're doing and the music that you're making, that will resonate with people. Do you know what I mean? And people will have the choice to be able to connect with that. And if you do get connections from that, that's where you start building your own fan base, your own audiences, you know. And if people feel that you deserve to be paid, you deserve to be supported from it, then you've already got an audience there to be able to market your music to. Do you know what I'm saying? If you can get merch involved with that as well, and get people behind you as a brand, as well as your music, even better, you know? But you just have to start. You just have to believe in yourself enough and take that chance to just put the music out there. it's easier than ever to be able to do it. And although some people may see that as a bad thing, I see that as an amazing thing, because it breeds new gems, new diamonds found within the rough. It takes away that fear, you know what I'm saying, of being under a record label and having to deal with shady contracts. And not saying that all record labels deal with shady contracts. I run a record label myself, and I pride myself on trying to be as fair and as artist focused as I possibly can. Do you know what I'm saying? My royalty splits between the label and the artist is 25% to the label, 75% to the artist, because it gives the artist more incentive to feel comfortable to put the music out there, because they know they're going to be getting more back. Do you know what I'm saying? And as far as I'm concerned, my investment is pushing the music out there as much as I possibly can for the artist and with the artist. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm an independent label myself. I don't have a machine behind me, so we need to work together to do the best that we can for these releases, you know. And that, if everything was under the iron grip of major labels, then I wouldn't be able to do things like this. I wouldn't be able to set up my own label, do you know what I mean, and give other artists the opportunity and the platform to release their music, you know. And that, so yeah, man, I think it's the fact that it's easier than ever to be able to put music out there. I think that's a great thing. Yeah, there's oversaturation and this, that, and the third, but that's always going to be a thing, and that always has been a thing. Because the more people that get in music and become successful at that, the more people are going to want to give it a try themselves. It was never going to be this small circle of artists, labels, radio stations, this, that, and the third. It was never going to be this exclusive club and shit. Do you know what I'm saying? So when people talk about oversaturation as if it's some sort of massive problem and was never going to happen or should never happen, that just doesn't make sense. You know, things are going to evolve. Over time, more people are going to get involved. And that it's always going to be a thing, you know. But that doesn't mean that, you know, you can't carve out your own piece for yourself. It doesn't mean that you can't build your own audience for yourself. So just do it. Just take that time, take the chance on yourself, believe in yourself, and just put that music out there. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's what I've got to say about all of that. Thank you for watching and listening if you've got this far. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing week. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. And take care of your mental health, because you don't know. Good mental health is wealth. Forward ever. Backward never. And as always, blessings to you all.